Here is a shocking quantum physics, law of attraction breakthrough technique and teaching that will allow you to attract what you want quicker and faster than you ever thought possible. And it's not in the movie The Secret. This is Jake Ducey with JakeDucey.com, and let's dive right into it. Number one, nature of reality 101. So, nature of reality 101, disclaimer, I'm not a physicist, but I do my studying. And the first thing that is important to understand is that we've lived by a Newtonian physics model. And that Newtonian physics model is pretty simple. You can sum it up really simply like this. We live by the belief and the quote-unquote truth that reality was pure matter, and that energy was just like a force when we'd move matter. That energy and matter were actually separate. And so that doesn't leave much space for free will. You know, it leaves no power to thought. And it's basically saying that there's these solid physical objects in our reality, and whatever your physical objects, i.e. your circumstances, your situations, etc., whatever they are, you're pretty much stuck with them because you're this little physical meat suit, you're this matter, and the matter over there, i.e. your bank account, your love life, your circumstances in life, your lot in life, whatever it is, you can't affect it. So that leaves no room for free will. That leaves no room for anything. So we've been under the assumption, or were under the assumption for a very long time, that reality was purely physical and that was all there was to it. Not true. Number two, 200 years later, Albert Einstein comes along. Remember that guy? And he says E equals mc squared, which is essentially saying that matter and energy are so interchangeably connected that they're one and the same. So we move from here's matter, and we're at effect to matter. We're subject to matter. To Albert Einstein throwing the whole world on its head and saying equals mc squared. Essentially, his discoveries are leading us into this deeper exploration of light and energy, because what he discovered is that matter and energy are essentially the exact same thing. And this is when it gets interesting, because if matter and energy are the exact same thing, then it throws out the question, what actually in life couldn't you change? If energy and matter are the same thing, then technically who I am beyond this meat suit, at the subatomic level, at the level beyond what we can see, I'm pure energy. And Albert Einstein went on to say that particles don't create other particles. They all come from a source. What's a particle? A particle is the basis of matter. It's the basis of the physical objects. So he's saying particles aren't creating, matter's not creating matter. There's a larger energy force at play. So I have to be one with that energy source. You have to be one with that. So then it gets interesting, because it's like, hey, guess what? You're not bound to your bank account. You're not bound to your past. You're not bound to your love life. You're not bound to the failures that you have. You can change them, you can mold them, and you can shape them, because at the core, consciousness is energy and form, and you have consciousness, and you can change the things in your life. So number three is that this discovery by Einstein led to the discovery that actually atoms are pretty much pure empty space. 99.999% are pure empty space, and that they're actually more energy than anything else. So it led us into this deeper discovery where we started to look at atoms, and then what we found out is that there's actually these things called subatomic particles. There are these particles that are actually the building blocks of all the other particles. And what they found out was like this really bizarre thing, because when they started looking at subatomic particles, what they discovered was this really peculiar thing. And that was that sometimes these subatomic particles, when you look at them, would be in wave state. A wave state is essentially meaning energy. They were in an energy state. And then other times when you look at them, they'd be particles. They'd actually be quote unquote matter. They'd be in physical form. So it's this really weird thing. And what they discovered was based off of the observer, based off of the person looking at it, it would take shape into different forms. And they surmised like there's actually this infinite potentiality field that all the waves and particles, the subatomic particles, that eventually, as you go through all the different levels of atoms and particles, they make up the building blocks of the entire physical world that we see, including our bodies, that it's actually there in infinite potential. And based off of the way that you observe it, the consciousness that's brought into the experience, it takes form as a particle or it stays in an energy state as a wave. So it started tripping people out, and they called it the observer effect, which was essentially stating that reality isn't solid. It's not solid at all. And the experience of reality that you have, down to the most minute solar system of an atom, subatomic particle, what you see is contingent upon who's looking and how they're looking. It can be in an energy, non-physical state or in a particle, solid state. And then it's like, whoa, that's the craziest thing ever. Because that means that perception is king. That means the law of attraction is true, is real, is so powerful. Because how you look at Wayne Dyer used to always say, when you change the way that you look at things, the things you look at change. It's true. When you change the way you look at money, money changes. If you look at money as an evil thing, if you look at money as a bad thing, as a dogmatic thing that you were told through your religion, or you think you're not good enough to have it, or that we live in this world where the government and the Illuminati and all these things control it, and you're not good enough and smart enough and you're too old or you're too young to make it, what happens? Based off of the observer effect, the subatomic particles that eventually make up the reality of money in your life, what happens? You don't see any of it. The observer effect, you're creating your life. Matter isn't solid. Albert Einstein led to this crazy breakthrough. He was like the greatest law of attraction teacher ever. Why? Because he showed us that your consciousness has the ultimate domain over what you attract into your life. You are the observer of your life, and based off of what you hold in your consciousness dictates the things that you do or do not see in your life. That's why two people, similar upbringing, similar place in the world, and similar occupation, one of them could be a multi-millionaire and the other one could be $800,000 in debt, because it's the way you're looking at things. So my question to you is, how are you seeing your world? Albert Einstein said there's two ways to see the world. One is as a miraculous, friendly place, and another is this hostile place. Do you see the world as this infinite potentiality? We live in a world of infinite potentiality, meaning all the potential realities that you ever desire to experience, your soulmate, your dream life, your dream income, your dream house, the dream contribution and difference you're making in the world, the health of your body, all of that is available to you. That's not impossible. It all exists. It just depends on your perception and belief system and what you tell yourself about what's possible. The observer effect quite literally means what you hold in your consciousness, what you see in your mind, you will hold in your hand and in your life. So if this sounds like a bizarre concept that you're in charge of your life, download my free success hypnosis, jakeshypnosis.com, because 95% of our life is subconscious, is governed by our unconscious mind, and there's programs from our culture that tell us we can't create what we want. So download my free success hypnosis, jakeshypnosis.com, down below, and you can start to reprogram it. So the question to ask yourself and to really look at is that if all the waves, the energy at the subatomic level already exists in the quantum field as pure potential, and based off of what we see is based off of the observer and the consciousness behind it, then the question is, if you can get emotionally involved in a vision, if you can actually imagine that your future already exists, and you can, over time, it'll take time, at first you won't believe it at all, then it'll develop into more of a belief, and it'll develop into more of a belief. If you can get to a point where you truly believe like you know, like you know, like you know, like you know, that lack of evidence isn't evidence of lack, Meaning, just because you can't see what you want doesn't mean it's not already here. That's what that phrase means. Lack of evidence is not evidence of lack. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not already here. So if you can know like you know, whatever it is that you desire in life, you're changing the way that you're observing and perceiving reality. The result is all of that infinite waves of energy will become particles. In other words, you can create your reality. So the question is, if you have free will, if you have this power to create an amazing life, and if science is starting to prove these things, and if my man Albert Einstein is showing us that matter and energy are essentially one, my question to you is, are you ready to take total personal responsibility for your thoughts? Because your thoughts are energy, and that energy is sending a chemical signal, and in response, your brain is responding to it. Your brain is hardwiring in certain ways. In neuroscience, it's brain cells that fire together, wire together. It's dictating the vibration that you're in, which is dictating what you're attracting into your life. Man, you can create such amazing things. Like, really think about this. Watch this video through again. Download my free success hypnosis, jakeshypnosis.com, and think about the fact that any perceived undesirable circumstances that you have in your life, you can mold them and shape them and change them however you want. People know this. Like, Steve Jobs knew this. He has a quote that says, when you realize the world was built by people no smarter than you, then you can mold it, shape it, and change it however you want. You can mold it, shape it, and change it however you want. How can you mold, shape, and change reality however you want? Well, because matter is actually not matter. It's actually energy. And 99.999% of it is empty space. And what we learn through quantum physics and the observer effect is that matter, or not matter, particles, which becomes matter, or waves, which is in an energy state, what you see is based off of how you're observing it. So my question to you is, do you see all the potential out there? Do you tell yourself there's no good guys, there's no good women, there's no opportunity to make more money? Or do you tell yourself, man, I live in this beautiful, abundant place. I'm gonna influence so many people's lives today. I'm gonna make everybody smile today. And I know that there's so much money in the world. There's more printed every day. I know my soulmate's out there. I feel myself getting healthier and healthier. I feel myself getting stronger, and I feel myself getting more confident and happy. I feel my energy getting stronger. That's in the position where you're using the observer effect to create what you want. So this is Jake Ducey with jakeducey.com. Download my free success hypnosis. Download that. You need to reprogram your subconscious mind. Press the subscribe button in the corner. I'll see you on the next video. I hope this blew your mind. It blew my mind.